A lot of the time we tend to hold back or change the way that we are towards some people because of lack of reciprocity, you know? And I was thinking about that like in my mind back to back to back, and I just heard this voice like, don't let people's lack of reciprocity change your character. Because I tend to distance myself a lot or like start holding back more with people in the future just because I've had a bad experience with somebody, especially when you notice a pattern where you're the one who pours more than the other person. You start feeling like, well, then I have to start holding back, like, well, I'm giving more than they do. And it's not like I'm the type of person to keep tab, but if I genuinely love you, you would know, because especially in the beginning of a connection, and you would know, like, and that naturally happens, like, and I would just like, you know, you would know that through my words, through my actions, the way that I act. You would know sometimes when I take a little break or like a pause, I'm like, wait, that person hasn't like reciprocated a lot of the way that I've shown my affection. And I also understand that people show love in different ways. Like the way that you would love someone would be different than the way that they show love. Like it would be, so maybe it might be that you're not receiving it, so you feel like it's a lack of reciprocity. I'm not thinking that, not that I'm talking, but the main topic is not letting lack of reciprocity change the way that you are, change your character as a human being. I don't know how to explain it, but now I feel like I got into the habit of holding back, that now when I try to jump back into my natural self of naturally giving, of naturally, you know, being affectionate and all that, it physically feels cringy or physically hurts. It feels shameful. I don't know how to explain that, but it's like, how can one person have such a hold onto you? It's like, but then it's like in the brain, rejection is the same or similar to physical pain. So when you love someone, or you put someone at a certain standard in your life, and you find out that they don't have you in that same standard, or you found out that it's not reciprocated, it hurts because that feels like rejection. Now it feels genuinely, it feels physically painful. So then I feel like it takes some type of healing and bravery and courage, or a certain mindset, to not care and be like, you know what, I don't care if this person doesn't reciprocate. I'm gonna show up as my most genuine self, and if I don't receive it back, then they were just not for me. But for me, I have a hard time getting into that mindset because I took the habit of already letting those situations affect me. And then because of that habit, now I'm still in the habit of holding back. So when I try to get back into my affectionate phase, it genuinely feels impossible. Like it feels physically cringy, and I'm sure you get what I mean. But it genuinely just feels, I'm really the type of person to like initiate things, make plans and everything, but when I notice that it's not reciprocated, I feel like I allowed that to change the way that I am as a person. But instead of changing my environment, I allowed this whole situation change me, because the pain of rejection hurts so bad that I don't want to feel that again. But like, what is life if you don't love? Like, what is life if you hold back? What is life if you allow the pain of rejection to hold you back from truly living? I feel like that's what life is about. If you really love, like, you will, like, you can't expect to not be hurt, because at the end of the day, we're human, and human can be disappointing at some point. Like, we're not perfect. Even you as yourself, you have to question at some point. You've also created pain to other people, and it gets to a point where it's like, even if you have that mindset, right, even if I'm thinking that, oh yeah, I've also hurt the people and then I should just move on, it feels impossible. It feels like really hard to do that. We're gonna finish the video here, but I was saying that in the book, it was saying that our brain are so quick to imagine the worst case scenario, when in fact a lot of the time it's not us. Sometimes you have to assume that that person is having a bad day and it's not about you. He gave the example of that video where you can be so focused on something, like internally, let's say you go somewhere and out of nowhere you're thinking, oh my gosh, actually I don't feel good about my outfit, I don't think I look good. And people that look at you, you might like have a facial reaction, right? But the people that are seeing you, while you are in your head, will assume that the way that you're reacting facially is towards them. Now, if you think about this situation about somebody else, right, and you're like, oh, that person gave me a stink face, or that person was looking at me weird. What if you think, oh, maybe they're thinking of something else, and then like it really has nothing to do about me. I feel like 90% of the time people are more in the minds than we assume the words. Like, people are more in the mind than we assume the words, and I feel like it's a natural human reaction. Their brain is like, what did I do? Why is this person looking at me like that? And he gave like a little exercise. If you're really anxious about something, this topic isn't really about like thinking negatively. This topic is more like if you have something happening in the future, you're really anxious about something, whether it's an event, whether it's a presentation, whether it's an interview, and your brain is focused on something bad happening, because that's what's creating the anxiety, right? Because we are more likely to think worst case scenario rather than best case scenario. So then he gave a little exercise. You take a paper and you start writing what would the best case scenario look like. And if like the whatever is happening that is making you feel anxious, you write the best case scenario in the paper, and every day you read it. And because your brain sometimes doesn't know the difference between reality and your imagination, because that's how powerful our brain is. Because have y'all heard about the placebo effect? The placebo do I have ADHD because I'm jumping from topic to topic, but stay with me, okay? The placebo effect is like, he gave an example of how some people were having body ache and everything, and the doctors gave them a placebo, like a fake medicine. It did nothing to the body, but they simply told them that medicine is to heal that pain. And naturally, like, they actually got healed, because in their mind they believe that medicine actually healed them. Like, that's so crazy how the power of our brain is. So when you write the best case scenario on the paper and you read it every single day, your brain would actually start seeing it as reality. I've had scenarios, I've had days where just in my thoughts, I've had days where best case scenario have happened. It felt like a dream. I felt like I was in a stimulation. Like, the type of scenario you sometimes daydream and you're like, oh my gosh, if this ever happened, that would be great. I've had something like that actually happen in real life, and I was like, that would be such a good thing to tell my kids. But anyways, I won't speak about it right now, but like, it's so crazy, the power of our thoughts, the power of our mind, the power of our brain. I wish the quality was better, but my camera has been very annoying with the space thing. So every single time I'm recording, even after deleting things, it's still giving me issues. And I'll see you on my next one. Bye.